그 지난주 동영상 강의는 어떻게 하다 보니까 두 번째 부분이 겹쳐서 나왔어요. 그러니까 이제 첫 일주 1시간으로 그렇게 돼야 되는데 두 번째 테이프가 아마 2시간 정도 나온 거니까 두 번째 테이프만 들으면 될 것 같아요. 2시간 정도 되고요. 1시간짜리, 2시간짜리. 이메일 받았어요. 출석한 학생들은 이메일에서 Okay. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the weeks ahead, we'll take an overview of legislative information. So, in terms of legal research, the lexicos is important as you expect. And the statute is often influential also. And of course, must be bound a judge about a specific case. And so for the legal researcher, we have two basic perception about lesson materials. Some justices would often see it not exhaustive, since it is necessary, or in some cases distract the focus on research if we widen our subjects. For example, is it really consequential if we be exhaustive of a community post or hearing a report from the hearings in Congress? Often they would act separately. In some cases, they need to make a joint resolution, and the number of bills would be assigned separately to indicate the sources respectively for the Senate and House. And the bills would be discussed in each house and would be processed in text. So, for example, the Senate would propose an original bill in language. They will consider the bills from the House, which contains the language drafted by the House, and they will discuss the problems and some points, sustenance. So they will actually pass the bill as is, or in some cases, amendment would be added. In that case, the enactment clause would come controlling, and the previous exchange of communication or other language of resolution as a final draft would disappear. So the new bills would come in new text or alter about the previous disagreement or final consensus. So disagreement, exchange of ideas, and arguments, and finally could arrive at some conclusion. So the conclusion would be the kind of crystallization, which constitutes the final version of the bills, and expected to be presented to the president for a veto or approval. So a passage of both units in Congress would not necessarily mean that it will take an effect as a law of the United States. So the president might veto in some cases. Of course, as you know, the Congress authorized the Constitution authorized Congress to override the bill. So repassage may be reach a resolution by both parties, perhaps a two-thirds weighted terms of a majority vote prescribed in the Constitution could take an effect. So in that case, we see a scope of a different versions, which would be same or identical in much ambit. However, that could indicate the different processes and actually the Congress would win the proposed bill through the long terms of process. The bill could survive over a 2 years period in term, and a new proposed bill, once discarded by Congress, could re-emerge in wording. So context could complicate and may be dealt in quite interactive intensity between both parties. And in that process, we see different forms of bills, which would crystallize into the act or statute of the United States, or in some cases may fail to come in forward. So the perspective is on diversity as cases. So some justices would prefer to look through all the relevant evidences about searching the justice, legislative history, the record, to show the context of floor debate or what the discussion on and criticism or any advancement found available through this committee reports or subcommittee reports may help to enrich understanding of what the congressman actually meant to produce the acts or bills. So background information could be located or in some cases complement the exact meaning of the statute provision. But that is also another point. We suppose if the legal fighters or legal researchers would like to project his eyesight or extend his extent of engagement in what a cognition of a law. So how to recognize the law? The exact meaning of a statute provision is often not simple. Of course, that would not always true. In some cases, the plain language could well come in grasp for Supreme Court justice, for example, and legal researchers. In that case, we could be elevated in any concrete understanding of a congressional will. Yeah, actually, it is expression of a political branch and represents the will of the United States citizenry. So we respect the statute, and the understanding should be precise, which could be assisted with other secondary nature of a source history. So we generally term it in kind of a list of history. So we put an importance in legal research about our expanded understanding and some challenges which could be found in the statutory language would be resolved with the aid of the rest of history. So for debate and various concern. So what we see in the printout, which would be prepared for your availability in next class, I suppose. Sorry to bring the materials, but I make it ready for your reference in the next class. It will be delivered there. And in the printout, you will find 6 sources about the federal legislative process. So all the 6 stages will produce a typical form of a documentary evidence, which will increase your comprehension, more precise comprehension about the intent of Congress, or a preliminary and informal consideration. That is most basic form, and which is wide, of course, informal. So that could come in brevity about the circumstantial force from the message of President, memorandum of executive offices. So the kind of basic direction could be steered in the New Year's speech, for example, from the President. So what is most hot word in this nation about public policy or rules? So the President may instruct Congress with plausible response about national agenda. So that is one strength to motivate the engagement of Congress. So how we work to make bills and what they could refine in any effective form of laws in the United States. So legal researchers need less of the information in many countries. The ambiguity is as common in the language of statute, lead lawyers and scholars to use less of documents in interpreting the intended purpose of an act or the meaning of particular statute terms. Congressional hearing that proposals provide background information on a wide array of issues, from Supreme Court nominations to oversight of any administrative agency actions. So you will imagine role and responsibility of Congress. well, actually, in the wider scope, and the nature of power is created in comparison with other branches. So, what the scope of powers actually were reserved within the state and federal Congress. And so, what the one clause would render Congress to engage in sprinkle nominations. So they are responsible to approve the nominees for sprinkle justice. So instead work need to be filed and actually exerted to support the justification of this. And also the principal responsibility will be to enact the statute. And also another role from the Constitution. The judicial branch as well as Congress who be responsible to oversee the administrative branches. Specific rules were devised by the judicial branch would be kind of an important guide in delivering their job responsibilities. So actually, rule of law ideas would establish the context of dealings and interaction between two branches. And also the Congress would be responsible to oversee the executive branch. So they hold hearing, for example, about the public nomination, and they would organize the kind of necessary session or any hearings about important national issues, for example, controversies. For example, what is ethnic case? It is a big kind of a conglomerate and very dominant businesses in the United States, of course, related with the much employment and its impact on national economy will be serious if they are corrupt. So the Congress will be responsible to find what is the kind of concern and interest would come in similar lands with the sailor, for example. So the role of government is kind of corruptive practices of